And if everything would work for me today, hello and welcome to the show. It's another great debate. What am I gonna do? Jeez, so many shows, so many things to talk about, so much information spooling around in my head, I don't even know where to go. How is everybody doing today? We have a TA first in the chat. Way to go. Hello, peeps. Big Chief Fuzzybeard stopping in to say hello. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping into the channel. What is going on here? We're going to talk about some topics today. We are going to talk about topics. What kind of topics are we going to talk about? I don't know. I really don't. That all depends on what you guys want to do. So let us start out this fine show with figuring out how to run the show. Here we go. Maybe run. Go.
Welcome to the great debate.
All right, some of you already know, but some of you do not. This is how it goes. There are 18 topics on the board. Underneath each of these topics, there is a question or a conversational point, whatever. And there's, 5 minutes and 40 seconds to talk about it? 6 minutes and 40 seconds? I don't know. There's 500 seconds, maybe. Something like that. 600. What we're going to do is we're going to allow the chat, because I don't have any guests today, to pick some topics. And what we'll do is we will talk about those topics first in TA. TA wants tech. Let me see if I remember how to run this show. Does the devaluation of fiat currency push for people to create more cost-effective solutions? This is a weird thing I'm starting to see, and I'm trying to watch different angles of this. Please hey Amanda, welcome to the chat. Haven't seen you in a while. Nice to have you back. This is something I'm seeing lately. Obviously, in Venezuela, what is it? 1 million of their currency equals a couple dollars of ours. So, to move that around a little, if we think about where we are, let's say in America, and we talk about the stagnation of wages versus the cost of living, what this is partly a smokescreen that I see that people don't quite realize, and that's the cost of living has been made to now include things that are amenities and not necessarily requirements and needs, necessities to live on. So you do kind of need water, fresh water, important. So there's an important bill. Electricity, kind of an amenity, but moreover, it's considered a necessity in our current culture, the way we live. Most of us, including me, which, you know, I think I'm going to have to financially think about getting rid of for many reasons, but I have internet, I have cable, I have cell phone. All of these cost me more money than I really need to be spending, and if I didn't have these, how much more would I have? And I know I've said this before, but when you consider the fact that you kind of make what you did a few years ago with inflation a little less, and you're still expecting to get the same amount of services. So here's the problem I'm seeing. And it's really hard to explain, because in a capitalistic world, which this is now, all of us want to have things. And in order for things to become, you know, normal, more people have to have them. So more people have internet. More people have some type of cable TV or digital TV, something set up. And a lot of people have their cell phones. These have almost become seemingly a necessity to us, to where we'll be willing to take on the increased cost of these items, even if that cost continues to increase through time. So this year my phone bill, like $200 for 2 phones and internet and all that, or two whatever am I paying, $250, way too much, and I can't cut it back right now because of the contract. Well, as my wages begin to stagnate or not go up, and then the bill goes up, I have to make a decision to cut it off. This is where I think our technology is creating part of the problem, is that so many businesses and companies want to get you in on a contract, on a regular subscription, on a monthly fee. Even I want to. I do have a Patreon. If you want to donate $1 monthly, you can go over there and donate it to me. Or if you want to subscribe on, where is it? Streamlabs has a thing now where for like $4 or $5 a month, you can do a monthly subscription and help out the channel. So this is becoming so common that even those of us who are doing this as a hobby use this method to try and increase our revenue. Well, I guess anything would be an increase from low to nothing. So what these businesses are doing are trying to lock us in to understand that they can get that money from us. And we're looking at it like, okay, this is a luxury we can afford to have. But when you pile the luxuries on together and they're not bundled in the payment, you realize that you're paying a lot more out than you really are in the things that you need. So technology has kind of devaluated currency because we believe our currency can be spread thinner across multiple places, and yet we're not really bringing more in. I watched an article from TYT this morning, which kind of angered me and I wanted to respond to, obviously, because it's TYT. That's crazy, Jacob. What's a stuffy? Huh? A stuffy? No, I was typing getting my niece stuffy for her stuff. I forgot. Okay, never mind. Where was I? I'm lost on my own topic. How did I do that? We get to a point where everything seems to be a requirement. For instance, filling out job applications. I'm noticing that out of the last 50 applications I filled out, only one of them do I get to print out. So this technology is forcing us to use it. It's costing us more to use, and it's taking away from what we have for other things. So technology, I think, is a part of the devaluation of currency, because the more technology we have, the more we want to stretch and have it within our realm of having. We want to have access to the internet. So the internet being a new technology, we want to find whatever way we can to pay for access, even if that cost continues to go up year after year more than what we're making. Same thing with, TV. We want to be entertained. You want some type of TV coverage. If the cost continues to go up every year, like Netflix is starting to do, and raising their prices every year or two to try and compensate for buying the new videos. Now, all these costs continue to go up. And this gets back in, welcome privileged white male, it gets back into a conversation about whether or not we actually need some of these things. And technology should be creating more cost-effective solutions for us so that we can get more for our money. But instead, it's creating a more to spend our money on circumstance. I can't have Dr. Pepper because I have acid reflux. That sucks. That really does. I intend in the next year to go through all of my seeming utilities and cut them all back to minimum to afford the fact that they're going to be going up more, and I can't afford the increases in prices without the increase in something economic into my household. The value of $1 to me is greater than the value of $1 to the economy. So for me to get $1, that gives me $1 to go get something, but $1 in the economy doesn't buy me what it once did. Bobbot. Welcome, Bobbot. That's not my bot. But there are bots in here. Have fun. Denny Crane, you made it to a live show. Welcome. And my time is up. All in all, I know that was kind of confusing, probably, because it's hard for me to get out how I see this as working, but technology seems to be devaluing money by making it seem like you have more money to burn on these things in incremental version as opposed to buying something outright. So payments on something as opposed to paying for something. And here we are back at the board, and we have lots of people to choose today. And I remember movies popped up once. We may have to do movies next because Amanda popped in. And why not do her topic? Topics are wonderful. Topics! Movies being fiction. Are we clouding people's perception with imaginative films? Ooh. Now on this channel, on this show specifically, we've talked about how video games could possibly affect you if you get out of a shooting game and then walk outside with an 8mm in your hand, or get out of a racing game and then go get into your Mitsubishi. You may be more inclined to make destructive decisions that could have negative outcomes, or to try and live out the video game in IRL. With movies being fiction, a lot of things we see are historical films that are adapted to the way we want to see it. We see science fiction type films, and when I say historical films adapted, that's why I mean fiction there. Historical films change to fit a meaning for us to write on that might not actually be historically based. We get into like sci-fi and space, and we get into zombies, and we get into world-ending scenarios, and we get into all of these different romantic situations and love stories and all of these different types of interactions that we see in films that people write about as the apex of where our civilization should be, the striving point, the goal of where we want to be. And then people see these movies and take in the elements and the words and the criteria, and they try to apply it to their real life, and then go out and do something stupid because it was a fictional movie meant to entertain and not realistic. Would releasing a large number of movies to the population, think where we are now, has releasing large amounts of fictional information bringing about, I think I have one that lives nearby, or I don't want to say the location, but in northern PA, there's a car that drives around. It's listed on the back window, this big white letter, official zombie rescue vehicle. Now, where does this come from? I don't know. You get the ideas, zombified people that are on drugs following people through, or hungry people that are just looking for food and acting on intuition and primal characteristics as opposed to thinking and working through problems like we do today. I had a theory after watching Mars Attacks as a kid. They put out all these alien movies to desensitize us when they announce aliens are here. That's actually a pretty common thing. I think I've even discussed that on this show before. The desensitization, whatever it is. The people getting so used to a scenario or something that when it actually happens, it's cool and not scary, to sort of manipulate the populace to think things a certain way. Randy Raccoon, welcome, but not the alien thing. This is a part of it, Amanda. Well, there's some data and some conjecture that implies that we have been and are regularly visited by aliens, or you could say that aliens live here with us, among us, or, however you want to approach that. But that's not the question. Let's say that on this topic, let's say you're watching a movie, and it's a fiction, let's say it's some sort of romance, stating how this guy got the girl, and he was really aggressive and, slapped her on the ass and grabbed her hair. Some women really do like that, Case in point, whatever. If people see these movies and assume that this is what people like because this is what I've seen in so many movies, even though they're fiction, they begin to believe that this is what they need to do to achieve what they're after. And it sort of clouds the judgment of people, altering the perception of how to go about living. So before movies and plays, we kind of just went on what we saw around us. We're doing the same thing. We are actively learning from the stimuli that we take in, whether we realize it or not. So watching a movie could inherently, non-subjective or unconsciously affect the way you interact and react to a situation that you're in. So could watching movies that have fictional standpoints that could cause some sort of demented thought process in people. Could this be what's happening around us? People are watching these fictional movies and believing what's in them, and it's clouding their judgment to where now we have 20,000 different ways to look at whether or not alien life exists. 30,000 different ways zombies might come about and eat our brains. We got several hundred ways vampires are created, whether they're sparkly and glittery or whether they're, fast and invisible and can change into bats. We've got stories of werewolves. Does all of this maybe predispose us to do or react certain ways that might not be proper? Because it seems so often that young minds don't learn to pay attention to one thing for long periods. That's also true. Could that be a part of why attention seems to be a problem? Obviously, there doesn't seem to be a problem paying attention to your phone when you see people crossing the street without looking at the crosswalk. At the same time, when it comes to actually fulfilling a job or doing something, it's all about when that next 10-minute break is or when they can get off the clock and go do something else. It's not about completing the tasks or the work that they're always on. And I'm not saying that movies change the way people are, but fictional movies offering in many different ways to think about things, see things, or do things, they could cloud the way you perceive your life to be lived, which in the end could be sending us down a really deep, dark rabbit hole as a human population, don't you think? Well, on a brighter note, let's move back to the board. All of the games are running if you guys want to play. The FFA, the heists, they're all going, I think. I left everything running, so feel free. But we do need another topic, and back at the board we go. There are 16 topics remaining. Who would like to pick today's next topic? We've been led there since the 30s. You could even say in the late 1400s, when plays and Shakespeare were starting to become a thing, that portraying romantic plays in front of people, showing them how people are to interact or best ways to interact or funny or jovial ways to interact, depending on what the play was or who was putting it on for whatever dictator or king at the time. It could have clouded the way that people perceive how they should be living their life. And while it be a point of entertainment, it could also be a point of reflection on one's own humanity and how to go about living the best life. Well, if you're given an example in front of you, if you lose place of what you're doing, you're going to follow the example that's given. Wouldn't you say? Why do I have a bird outside my window screaming at me? So, we are back at the board and everybody's throwing their bone. Throw your bones. What topic are we going to talk about next? Because there are so many. There's so much to talk about. And before the show, I've watched like 6 hours of content already this morning. And I was watching Ancient Antique Civilization. I'm stuck on the show from Saturday night on construction methods and building brick. And I watched them melt down seashells and turn it into to burn out the carbon from the seashell. And then you add water and it putties out and turns into this clay that you can mix and make ancient Egyptian concrete, I think it was. Really cool stuff. So my mind is like spinning, and video games I saw, where'd they go? There they are. Video games it is. TC, welcome to the show. Nike Air, welcome. Video games. Do video games built around real world scenarios create an audience? Ooh. I was watching a stream, I think it was yesterday. I forget who's. It was Cog's stream, I want to say. It was about Modern Warfare versus Battlefield. And I always try to keep these topics when I have to add them in somewhere close to what's going on around the internet, so you can apply it to the way you're looking at it. If we built video games around real world scenarios in order, let's Roller Coaster Tycoon. Let's say games were more like Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you had to build something, where you had to create something in order for the game to be fun. Let's say it was more concerned with actually doing something, maybe semi-implied digital teaching through a video game, as opposed to Call of Duty style, going out shooting things. Again, back to the fictional based. What if games were built more into a scenario of real life incident where you had to learn how to play the game, and if you don't build the building properly, you lose because it crumbles and falls. Or if you don't set up the roller coaster properly, you get sued because people go flying off. You didn't put in the proper restraints. Something like that. Welcome, Adam. How are you doing? If games were built more around scenarios that were real life, would they create an audience? Would games then become something that people use as a learning instrument? So I'm going to go build a castle instead of Call of Duty. And in building a castle, you're trying to build, 1300s castle out of stones, and you have this many workers, and how do you solve the situation of moving the stones, and how do you solve the situation of lifting the stones, and here are your tools and what you know how to use. How would you go about moving forward with the project that you have to do? This must be why I always love a game I can dig into and mod, something I'm always able to do tangible things with. Randy, I would agree. I think it's partly why I like doing Minecraft. From time to time, I'll sit down and binge on it for hours because I feel like I'm actually doing something. And while the game is fictional, aspects of the game are built around real life. Obsidian is a real life glass type, I want to say stone, but I think it's like a crystalline formation formed out of the slow cooling of volcanic rock. The quick cooling causes the stone, the slow cooling causes the obsidian style, which is harder, and it is a glass. So depending on how you look at it, all of these things, not all of, a lot of the things in the game are grounded based in reality. And if they didn't go to the fictional side, would you be able to relate the game into real life? Building a building would almost relate to building a building IRL, except for, no mortar or things. You're just stacking rocks. But concepts remain the same. My niece got scared when she saw a creeper in Minecraft. Funny thing, I think creepers in Minecraft were an accidental glitch of programming from trying to create something else, and then they left it in the game. My least favorite item in the game, obviously. I learned my periodic table of elements from Minecraft. Good job! I learned certain circuitry wiring, like the T-switches and stuff. I know basic electronics and how to hook up things in a house, but in Minecraft, if you work with the redstone, which is a lot of what I try to do, is create with redstone in there. I'll do castles and things, but I try to create light switches and panels and wire up houses and things. It's fun. There are various different switches, and the way you have to build a switch in the game almost kind of relates to how the switches are built and what their purpose is. So in playing the game, you are kind of taught a little bit about life. You just can't really apply it until you understand the aspects. Like if you didn't know what obsidian was, you would just think it was an aspect of the game. Much like some other things I can't think of that they have in like the end that they're fictional, but they're somewhat grounded in reality. Do these games create an audience? Now, after watching Cog's stream and him going over some of the numbers of people buying Battlefield or Call of Duty, you realize that different types of games have audiences that almost specialize for different types of people. So does getting people into certain games push them or incline them towards different types of jobs or thinking or even ways they live? I need a game folks will watch. That's, I suppose, true. So, to me, games are different. It is more fun to be involved in and or play the game than it is to watch somebody play the game. So while I might enjoy sitting in someone's chat and them talking and playing the game and seeing a couple run-throughs, I don't just want to go watch someone play the game unless I'm learning something from it that's going to help me. Minesweeper is cool to watch. Minesweeper is really a thought-provoking game. I wasn't into it when I first started playing it, but from time to time when my mind is just spooling, it helps force you to think equations out quickly in your head while you're playing. I don't think I've played Warhammer. Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't think I've played either of them. I'm not huge into gaming, and I really don't have money to spend on games right now. At least not until sometime next summer. I'm hitting a really tight budget area of my... Yeah, from now until the end of the year is going to be bad. No games. I don't fall into the systems anymore. When I was in my 20s, I would buy the systems and the games that I wanted when they came out, but I just can't do that anymore. With a family, I would rather make sure I have car insurance and electricity as opposed to a video game and or a console. $5 is a lot this week. And the time is up on video games. Good, because I don't want to talk about finances either. We have 3 topics out of the way. That means there are 15 left on the board. Whatever are we going to talk about? If I have to, I get free emulators. I used to like the free emulators, things like that. I try to get away from them because some of them corrupt computer, because things you got to do for free, you often have to do them in ways that you can sacrifice your computer's security for. But we will pick VR from Nike Air came first, and then TC has platforms. VR. If you could live in a VR, what would your environment be? Ooh, this is such an open-ended question, and I really want the chat to put in on this. I've always thought about it. Since VR came about, Star Trek the holodeck, you get the choice in the holodecks of choosing where do you want to go. Do you want to go to a 1970s bar? Do you want to go to the millennia change when we discovered faster than light travel? Where would you want to go? And I got into a weird discussion with my neighbor a few days ago about the best time to live. And I hear this a lot from people that we live in the best time ever. There won't be a better time than this for all the advancements and the changes and the work that's being done to improve upon the abilities and the luxuries that we have, that this is the best time. But is it? I don't really think this right now is the best time. I want to say, being that I study a little bit of history from time to time, I would love to say that 6 or even 12,000 years ago, albeit maybe a very hard time to live, would have been a much better time, because you wouldn't be worrying about the things that we worry and think about today. Life would be simpler. It would be easier. You would just be working to survive. Of course, survival would have been harder because technologies necessarily might not have been invented to make things easy. Or, as opposed to this, I would like to move forward a few thousand years. I don't think that the current time we're in, with the experiments that we're running, and those that will probably come in the future from experiments that we're currently doing, are detrimental, are possibly hazardous to our species. The things that we're trying out and that we haven't learned, we're finding out are dangerous or could kill us, and the more work we put in could be hazardous. So if we move forward, can we move past what we could call the maybe enlightening age or the advancement age? Who knows what this time period will be called 2,000-3,000 years in the future, when possibly domestic diseases, earthbound diseases or problems no longer harm or have any pull over us, when we don't have to worry about maybe fiat currencies and how to survive and push and pull against everybody, because we've created those methods that equalize everybody in some sort of social context. Obviously, some sort of socialist lifestyle will be the future. That will be a great time to live. So when I hear the argument that we live in the best time, we live in the best era, there has been no better time, I can't say that. I can say that thousands of years ago, before we got into all of what makes us consider this, or thousands of years from now, when we understand what it is we're tackling right now, that would be a much better time. Either the ignorance of or the complete understanding of the situation would be better than the learning of a situation. Only because, obviously, inherently, learning comes with struggles and hardships and problems. So, in my mind, and I really want to ask this of you guys, I'm going to hit the chat here in a second. If you lived in a VR world, what type of environment would it be? Obviously, being a VR world, future would be kind of whatever you planned it out to be, and past would be easier to pull off. So I, personally, would love to live in the past, especially if we had a complete understanding of what the past was, and I could live in it realistically and understand what they went through and why, and learned how they overcame those things, and could apply that into my thinking. Let's see. Hit the chat. Live underwater since it's fake. Ooh, living underwater would be cool. It would. I didn't even think about that. We have a redacted username in the chat. Welcome. How are you today? Being wicked smart makes you really crazy. That's also true. I also have argued that the more you use your brain during life, the more possibility you burn it out before death. Whole different topic there. Denny Crane, NumbedSkull, learning comes with challenges. Absolutely. Some of those challenges are not dying. My environment would be an 80s world. Really? Not the 70s? Maybe even the late 60s? I don't know. If you're aiming for just a couple decades ago, I think the 60s or 70s might have been best. Probably the mid to late 60s. Beyond that, I wouldn't want. Let's see, what else do we got in here? Randy Raccoon, I do like your format. I was trying to come up with something like this. You nailed it, I think. Well, thank you. This show's been going on for, well, we're getting up on a year now. We've got 100 and something episodes. Oh, that would be cool. Una wata. Anda. I'm lost. More intelligence means more depression, usually. Also, think about it this way. The more, going back to like the technology thing, the more you are aware of that is around you, the more your mind tries to pick on every one of those diverse topics. The fewer topics that you know about, the more you can focus on what you know about. So in ancient times, when your job was to move rocks, you didn't have to worry about feeding yourself or water. If your job was to move rocks, you were fed for moving rocks. Pretty simple. You don't have to worry about making sure you pay your cell phone bill and your internet bill and your car insurance and fixing the catalytic converter. You worry about moving rocks. That was what you did. If you worried about gardening, that's all you did all day. If you handled livestock, that's what you did all day. If you were a hunter, if you were a gatherer, if you were a parent, that's what you did all day. That's what you focused on. That's what you thought about. Outside elements wouldn't even necessarily affect you. You would have done the best at what you were doing. Move rocks. Call Matt. That's right. But he'll get the tiny ones. You want somebody that actually works. Somebody that does something for a living. He doesn't even focus on YouTube properly anymore. Come on. Alright. I forget what was after virtual reality. I really do. Let me scroll up and see if I can find what we were supposed to talk about next. Wow, I lost a lot of comments in here. GTA, yay! Yes, I mentioned GTA. Alright, we need another topic. We need another topic. And I lost what I was supposed to do next. I'm looking. Move rocks, call Matt. Platforms. Alright, TA. Platforms it is. We're going to move right into those platforms. Ooh, this question's been sitting there for a while. Should YouTube stop trying to make changes as large as the current news setup? I don't know. This is one of those topics. It doesn't quite necessarily affect me, except that the way YouTube moves affects how it promotes content that's being created by the users. So if it moves into the direction of news or paid services for television programming, then television programming is something that happens on a regular basis. It's repeated, it's recorded, they have the ability to pay for it and ensure that it will show up, as opposed to YouTube creator content. Let's say I woke up this morning and felt sick, I couldn't talk, the show could have been 15 minutes long if I'd have done it at all. Being that I feel well and I'm up to it, I do the show. And I do the show every Monday, trying to remain constant and trying to show everybody that I'm going to be here on a regular basis regardless, unless something comes up. So will YouTube select me for regular programming? No, because I'm not affiliated with something larger. I'm not being seen enough. Welcome, official Tommy Robinson fan channel. Thanks for stopping. Appreciate it. If they move into television and news programming, then what YouTube was, which was, users contributing what they had to the internet in video form, whether it be their conversation, whether it be their idea, a video, a cartoon, it doesn't matter. YouTube used to be contribution of individuals for others to see, a network for people to join, connect, and see material from around the world from different perspectives and thoughts and people. If you move that and you try to create it into a news or a programming channel from YouTube, you're taking away what built YouTube. So this is a very large change. We could, and this would be my thought process, if YouTube wanted to have something like Netflix for streaming, video watching, on-demand, monthly subscription, they should have done what they did with like Alphabet. YouTube and Google are not the same company. They're divided up. They run separate. They work together, but they run separate. YouTube should have divided up into YouTube Individual and YouTube News and YouTube Programming. They should have divided up into 3 segments and made it so that each segment operated individually, and you choose which segment of YouTube you want to watch and or take part in. Because some people do come here to YouTube looking for what they missed from television, whether it be programming or news or shows, it doesn't matter. They come here to see what they missed. Others come here to see what other people do that's funny, that's cool, that's new, that's interesting. I watched a guy burn a rock today. I watched a guy melt a piece of limestone today. This isn't stuff I see on regular television programming. But if you're going to move to television programming, how common is it going to be for me to find the weird shows, the burning the rocks and lighting aluminum cans on fire and exploding Mentos and Diet Coke? Where am I going to find these videos? Where am I going to find the pranks of somebody spraying shaving cream in a hand and making them slap themselves in the face while they're sleeping? I want to see funny videos. I want to see educational videos that aren't promoted or pushed with some type of agenda or illustration in mind, that are made because people had the intelligence and the ability to search and create something that is individual. So YouTube needs to know that the big changes as a company, we understand you have to do these. You have to make changes that are going to benefit your company for your company to either sustain or grow. That's fine. But what they've done is, and it almost seems clear to the people who are who are trying to create on YouTube, what they've done is they've tried to dilute creator content with national and international content, programming, and news. And when you do that, yes, we're still there. Yes, we're still seen, but we're not what people are coming there for anymore. Now people are coming there and being shown the news, being shown mainstream programming, and they're catching the programs they missed and seeing the things that they would normally watch should YouTube have not been there. So they don't need to stop making the changes. The changes they make needs to be, I don't know, right-click duplicate YouTube and rename. Right-click, duplicate again, rename. I mean, I do this for layers when I'm creating shows. Duplicate what you've done, rename it, and then change a few things about it and make it run differently. This is YouTube Red. It's completely separate from YouTube. Stop promoting YouTube Red when I want YouTube. If I want YouTube Red style programming, then promote me YouTube Red. But I'm not going on there to watch The Late Show. I'm not going on there to watch The View. I'm not going on there to watch... the only one that pops in head is the canceled one, Roseanne. I'm not going on to watch television programming. I'm going on to watch people create things. People do things. Take individual knowledge. Take combined knowledge. Take what they learned and researched and expel it. You guys in my chat, welcome guys. You guys in my chat are here to see what type of different way can I bring information to you. How can I bring this to you that's different? It's not... And today we're going to talk about how the water has risen 0.4 inches in the southern basin of the Gulf of Mexico. And then we're going to talk about how the rainfall has increased by 3/4 of an eighth of an inch in Southern California, causing mudslides. No! No, I'm not giving you the goddamn news. I am giving you what I want to give you, which is what I think is entertaining. And if you're here, then you think it's entertaining. And this is YouTube. YouTube is not The Late Show. YouTube is not the nightly news. YouTube includes clips of, commenting on, reference to, but it is not mainstream publication. And that's part of the problem that YouTube has, is in trying to expand their company, what they should have done is broken it down into divisions for what they wanted to do and not tried to combine everything into the same place. You still got those cookies I gave you earlier on Twitter? I'm still hungry. I need to make some cookies. Cookies sounds good. I got chocolate chips somewhere in the cabinet. I got coconut too. Maybe I can make some macaroons. Video! Not really. I still got 3 cooking videos I haven't published, but we'll get back to those another time. What do we... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think there is time for one more of these fancy-ass topics to talk about. 13 left on the board. Where are we going next, folks? What is the next tile I'm clicking on? What would you like me to ramble on for a few more minutes about? What do we got? 16 minutes in the show. Let me again say hello to everybody. All you fine people in the chat coming to join me. Macaroons are for the loons. Have you ever made a macaroon, Nug? They are hard. They're really light and wafery and taste good and melt in your mouth. But they take time to make. They take a minute. I know how to make a lot of things. I got cookbooks. They help. And then I've got my own recipes. They help too. Alphabet. Oh, LGBTQ plus alphabet it is. Good job, Adam. I barely caught that. Whew, here we go. On another one. LGBTQ plus alphabet. While inclusion is important to some, why then is disincluding the more prevalent... What? The more prevalent becoming the platform. Okay, let me reread that now that I read it right. While inclusion is important to some, why then is discluding the more prevalent becoming the platform? For instance, this is something I see in a lot of arguments and conversations, and I also see the rebuttals for it. That if you're not in the trans community, you can't respond to the trans community. Well, if the trans community, on a high estimate, constitutes 3.5% to 4% of the population, including everybody in the LGBTQ plus IAEPPPP, XYZ, whatever. If everybody in all of those combined groups together takes up 4% of the population, why is what they want more important than what the rest of the population wants? And yes, I say 4%. It could be low, it could be high. I'm not saying there aren't 30% of the population that don't agree with the 4% and what they're after. I'm saying, why is it that 4% that's dictating where things are going? On a regular basis, I tend to think I'm somewhere around general terms. I tend to think that I try to come about things the most realistic way possible. I try to think of things realistically and not out of the world, but I offer that conjecture to keep myself grounded. You have your gay bots. Chill. If what I see, and granted, I know whites aren't a huge part of the population, but why does it seem like sometimes everybody's attacking whites? It's okay to criticize when people attack blacks, but when people attack whites, you can't criticize the attacking of them because the group doing it is small. How does that work? They're a small group, so you can't attack them for attacking you? That doesn't make sense. If you want to be about inclusion, what it is we want to be included even though we're different. Not, we want to be separate, you need to take us as we are. No, we want to be treated the same even though we're different. That's what inclusion is. Treated the same even though you're different. So, why then are those who are being treated the same because they're different trying to remove those who are treating them well by disincluding them? Separate but equal. Actually, it's funny you should say that, because it seems like the groups that claim minority are trying to claim separate but equal, but if those of us who they think are a majority try to claim separate but equal, it's racist or sexist or homophobic or bigoted or anti-LGBTQ. It doesn't matter to me who you are or what you do outside, because you're anybody, any individual, separate from myself, has such a low importance to how I take care of myself that I really don't care what you do in your life so long as it doesn't affect me and mine. It doesn't affect my family, my children, or anything like that. But if you start changing laws so that I can't, as I see fit, happily go about doing things in what I feel a measured, well thought out way because you think it's wrong, well, then why am I the bad guy? If for 20, 30, 100,000 years women have been having babies, men have been sticking their penis in women to have babies, why then can we say that women stick their penis in men and men have babies? Does this not confuse people? Maybe you don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I really don't. I need a drink, guys. Sorry, one sec. But if you want to include, you need to say, okay, you and I are different, but that's okay because we can still get along. We can find commonplace. To take a division of something, to say LGBT separate from cisgender normative thinking. If you want to go which one is right or wrong, that's easy. What you do is you take an overall statistic. You measure everything and you go, well, this is the anomaly. The anomaly must not belong. But we include the anomalies. We allow the anomalies. We accommodate for the anomalies, only to be told that we ourselves don't get the same treatment in reverse. Well, yeah, you can come in and join me here. Have a dinner. Have food. Have dessert. Have a place to sleep. Oh, did you bring in a 12-pack of soda? Can I have one of those? No, these are all mine. Wait, what? You're not going to share and share alike? You're not going to equally give me what I'm equally giving you? I don't have any drinks. I have food in bed. You have drinks. Share your drink for me sharing the food in bed. Almost as if an implied arrangement. I'm nice to you with the expectation that you're going to be nice to me. I'm not nice to you with the expectation you're going to sit there and call me a cisgender, white, normative, heterosexual male in a derogatory form. Alright, you're a short, fat, retarded, lesbian meatball. How do you feel? And then we get into where we are today. So, that one came out of meatball. I don't know where that came from. If you want to be included, if you want happiness, you can't run out yelling at people who don't like you because they're seeing something they don't like. For instance, this is going to get me in trouble. I don't dislike black people, but I've said this before. I've been assaulted by black shoplifters. Never been hit by a white shoplifter. They usually pay for their groceries or set the stuff down when you tell them to put it down and leave since you knew they were stealing with it. The black ones, they've almost always gotten aggressive with me. Is this racist? Or is this me pointing something out? Okay, let's apply this to LGBTQ. If you're getting angry with me because I'm what the majority of people are, and I'm not angry with you because you're, what's a good scientific word for your, oh, I can't think. You're an anomaly. You're something that happens because of a byproduct of the number of people around. Therefore, we deal with you because you're here, but we don't have to follow your rules. I'm not following my 6-year-old telling me they want me to take them for ice cream because my 6-year-old is a small portion of the household, not the one running things. Okay, that's probably horrible anomalies. I need to get out of this topic before I bite my own ass. Well, folks, those are our 6 topics for today. Anomaly. Yes, LGBTQ, everything. It is an anomaly. It is an anomalous reaction to the number of people here and the abilities to be able to do different things and the comfort in doing those things. That's all it is. It is an anomaly. Is it a bad thing that that anomaly happens? No. When you conduct experiments, some experiments are scrapped because anomalous events happen in those experiments that cause reactions that you didn't expect or account for in there. You add those in, you acknowledge and explain those, and redo the experiment to see if those anomalies continue to happen. The persistence of the anomaly bases how general that anomaly is and how well to apply it to the mass of what you're looking at. So anomalous, 4%, 1/25th or less of the population. Behavior is a scientific add-on. Like, you understand and acknowledge that it's there, you account for it and realize it, but it isn't the primary study feature. You don't base everything off of the anomaly, you base it off the regular statistics. You accept the anomaly. Nope, orgy stream. I like orgy streams! My penis is a scientific mystery. At least it's not a card out of stone, right? So far, with my foreskin, they cut it off. They took it away. They're scientifically re-engineering little midget foreskin people. Next time. Any of you folks, I would be happy to have somebody on the show. It's nice to have at least one guest. The show is designed for up to 2. If you would like to be a guest on the show for next Monday, please hit me up. Oh, it is Monday, isn't it? So, according to my schedule, I have been currently running Wednesdays and Fridays with the Shooting the Crap streams, which is messing with bots and playing games and handing out bones. And then Saturday night, there will be a Numbed Wasteland. We're still working on a topic. And then Sunday, another It's Time to Be Colorful. If you want on TA, just hit me up, and I need like an avatar, and I'll create your name tag and all that, and get you all set up for the next show. So everybody, T-Tac, welcome to the show. I haven't seen you in a while. Nice of you to stop in right here towards the end, but that's okay. Can you handle it? Where's the handle? I'll give it my best. Look, I found a handle. Never mind. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. Please make sure that you hit all of those buttons on your way out. There are ever so many buttons. And we are going to blast out of here again. Play with my buttons. I love it when people play with my buttons. It's so amusing to play with my buttons. And until next time, guys, I will see you all in somebody else's chat. Have a good afternoon.